Okay. Thank you all for being here. As I was saying, with 61616, this course used to be a 5-hour course that flowed from fall to spring, and one way that we were trying to cut hours out of the program to make it easier for students, we shifted it to just a spring and from 5 hours to 2 hours. Last time I taught this, I spent a lot of time, we did a lot of action research stuff. And so I thought, well, it's probably not where you all need to be. If you've looked at the course site, and I will share my course site here. See if I can make it do what I want it to do. Okay. Okay. So Anita, do you see my course site? Is it shared? Okay, good. So as I was saying before we started the recording, that really the way I look at these Zoominar early in the semester like this, it's an opportunity for me to record where my brain is and what I'm thinking about and where I want the course to go. My goal, in almost all the courses I teach, I bluntly don't spend a lot of time on philosophy. I tend to spend a lot of time dealing with the nuts and bolts of being a good teacher, and the practices, the strategies, the professional development that we need to do to make you a good teacher. I am trying something here that I've never tried. I have never done a course this way before, and I have told. I don't know if you know that before I came to Northwest 9 years ago, I spent 3 years at DESE. So Paul Katnick, Dr. Paul Katnick, is one of the assistant commissioners down there, one of my colleagues down there, and he facilitated the Educators Toolbox webpage, and I've told him more than once that he did a nice job with that, and that I always wondered about building a course around those concepts. As I've said in the introductory emails about this course, I am building this course bluntly around the 9 teaching standards. This is something new for me. And so, and something else that's new, and Zach will have to talk about how we're going to pull this off for you, okay? Because we're going to have to talk our way through this, because bluntly, you need to build practicum hours. We need to get you in front of people actually teaching lessons. So we need to find a way to make this happen. The last semester, anybody that is, this next bit is a conversation for alt-cert people in their final semester, going into their final bit of certification. As I've said in my emails, the Missouri Educator Evaluation System is essentially the performance assessment that we need to do. It's really set up for people that are student teaching, where the university supervisors, people like me, and the principal come together to provide feedback and a score on each of the 9 standards. With alt-cert, it's a little bit different because you all don't have a university supervisor. You have me as an advisor. And so this is where I could visit everybody's classroom, and I still may do that some, but the more technology we use, the more far-flung people in alt-cert are. I have people that are teaching in far northeast Missouri, and our travel funds don't allow me to go that far anymore. We teach in a very different world. My colleagues tell me, before I joined Northwest, probably a dozen years ago, they used to teach classes in Kirksville, and they would use the university airplane to fly over there to teach a class. That just blows my mind. We no longer have the plane. We don't do any of that kind of stuff anymore, especially now that we have the technology. So using the use of video, use of Zoom, is something that we're going to learn to use more. we will be the only class that's trying this. Our student teachers still have face-to-face university supervisors. So my plan here is this, and I'll scroll down here so you can see where I'm going here. There are 9 standards. Standard 1 is content knowledge. Now these are the standards that, and those of you that are in classrooms will recognize these, because either whether you're using the DESE model or the MU model, these standards are very compatible with each other. Standard 1 is content knowledge. Standard 2, student learning, growth, and development. Standard 3, curriculum implementation. Standard 4, critical thinking. 5, positive classroom environment. 6, effective communication. Now, standards 7, 8, and 9 will be a little bit different. Standard 7 is student assessment and data analysis. Standard 8 is professionalism. Standard 9 is professional collaboration. I'll go back up to 1 and I'll show you, well, I'll show you my general thinking here is that for each, and I have not built these modules standard 2 on down yet, because I wanted to see how it works out with standard 1. Okay, and I do that with almost all my classes anyway. I almost always open up the modules as we go, because I like to make it very practical and modify as we go. But standard 1, you'll see, you'll have a video that's due February 9. Okay, I put that at the top so you can see that. And so my thinking is, and I need to, I need to work on this module just a little bit, but that's okay. Basically, this is a, well, this is a placeholder. Go back 1. Okay, so you can see that the due date for standard 1. My plan is for you to research and learn all you can about standard 1. Gain new insight and research, and I may need to work on this language just a little bit more to be a little bit more explicit in what I want you to do. But my goal is that you chew on the concepts. I don't know, a more professional word than that. That you sink your teeth into the concepts that surround standard 1, content knowledge. And there are look-fors down here that principals can use that if I was visiting your classroom, I can see these. Provide students opportunities to process content knowledge, use accurate content, use a varied evidence of instructional strategies, and a majority of students exhibit engagement. Okay, so I think I probably need to well, all I have at the moment is that one question: how can you grow as a teacher to better help your students with the content knowledge? That may be enough at the moment for this, but as we go through this, I will probably keep adding layers onto my expectations of you for each of these standards. My goal is that before you upload a video for standard 1, that we have spent time, you've spent time researching it, and you've talked to your principal, okay, and a colleague. Zach, we're going to work our way through this again. Anybody in post-bac will have to work our way through this because there are practicum hours built into this course, okay? DESE will expect to see practicum hours leading up into your semester of student teaching. So my goal here is that you will talk to your supervisor and you'll talk to other colleagues about this concept, these concepts around standard 1. The best example I think of is student engagement. You know, what does your principal look for when it comes to student engagement? And how does a colleague ensure that students are engaged? One of the best ways that I've come up with, and I do this in the classes that I teach face-to-face with undergrad, I use a lot of Spencer Kagan strategies, K-A-G-A-N. Zach, I don't know if you're familiar with Spencer Kagan or not. Okay, but when I teach an undergrad class face-to-face, in my mind, I make it a Kagan fest because I want to show them hand up, pair up, think, pair, share, shoulder partners, popcorn, snowball, double jigsaw, corner talk, all those kinds of things that Kagan does. I show my kids a different one or two of those every time we have class. In my opinion, from what I've observed, high school teachers are not as good at that as middle school and elementary teachers are. So in my opinion, high school teachers need to do more of that. In my opinion, you would look for examples of getting your students on their feet sometime during the lesson. That's a look for in my head when I watch you teach. Another look for this in engagement is when students are talking to students about the material. That's higher order learning, when you can set up situations for students to talk to students. That's why I do a lot of think, pair, share, shoulder partner, that kind of stuff. And that's all, student engagement stuff. So my goal is that you will spend time learning all you can about it. You will talk to your principal and colleagues about it, and then the concept, if I can make this go where I want to. Publish, okay. Then, and this is the part that's going to be, I don't know, tricky. I don't know. We're going to have to work our way through this too. I'm going to want you to create 5 to 10 minute video. No longer than that, because a video longer than that doesn't travel well. Okay, kind of a YouTube thing. Plus, so really my expectation is that you will catch a video, and I'll say this many times, I really want to see the students, not your face. This is where you're going to have to really research the permissions, your district level permissions for the use of video, capturing video, and sharing video for professional development purposes. Okay? And I'm fully prepared for some principal to go, ain't going to do it. Well, then I'll need to call a principal and talk our way through that. Because this is a big concept. And so most policies will say that it's possible, and any student that wants to opt out, you just they're just set off to the side. And I've watched Allie teach in her classroom, and students would just sit off to the side if they could not be in the video. What I don't want is just the camera pointing at you and I see you talking. It's much more important that we see what the students are doing in reaction to what the teacher is doing. Okay, and that's a concept that I learned when I was a principal, that I learned to put my back to the teacher and only watch the kids. I used to say that that I would like to put my back to the teacher, put earplugs in my ears, and only watch what the kids are saying, what the kids are doing. I didn't care what the teacher was saying, what the teacher was doing, because we all know teachers that stand up there and yak, 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 and the kids are not with them at all. Okay, now, because I learned that myself as a principal 20 years ago. Now I see researchers talking about the same thing, and I thought, I should have written that down and published it. Because now Hattie and Marzano and Marshall, these people are talking about that exact same thing. And I came across that on my own. So then the thinking is that you will create this video, this is a thread, that you put the link to the thread here, okay? And I think I'll probably need to put, I'll want you to, I'll need to add a couple more caveats to this thread, because you'll have to continually remind us the grade level, what was going on, what you're trying to do, kind of your thoughts as we watch the video. Because my thinking is, cross my fingers and knock on wood, that your principal will let you catch 5 to 10 minutes of your students and you teaching, and then you upload it here, okay, and we all see it. And we all collaboratively talk about it. So I see this course as more professional development than a course. That makes sense? because I'm not going to grade you on how good your video is. I mean, how do I do that? Okay. So I see this as one big professional development activity. So when you talk to your principal, please word it that way. Okay, because yes, there'll be points in your research, and I'll need to, like I said, put some parameters there. There'll be points in uploading your interview, that kind of stuff. That's rather mechanical. There will be very few places in here where I can really use a rubric. Okay, and so I'm way out on a limb with how I'm doing this course. I've never done it this way before, which is very typical of how I do things. I make things hard for myself. Anita, go ahead.
Okay, my question to you is, during our video, would you rather have a video of me teaching what I need them to do, or during the activity to reinforce what I've taught them?
That's your call.
Okay, well, I would much rather see them engaged and doing and learning by talking.
Okay.
And seeing if a strategy that I've used works.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. And actually, that would be much more beneficial. Now, on something like that, you will need to type in your comments that go along with your link.
With my strategy?
Yeah, what you're trying to do. And so we understand the whole picture, that you spent 10 minutes laying the groundwork for this jigsaw activity over these concepts. And what you're going to see in the video, maybe I need to word it that way. Give us some sentences of what we're going to see in the video and why you selected it. Okay. See, this is so new to me. I needed to kind of talk my way through this as to what prompts I want to give you, and then we watch your students, especially in the student engagement. Then we see, okay, we see your students doing whatever activity it is, and just so you know that I do not like worksheets. Okay, in my mind, that is probably not a student engagement activity. Now, there are pieces of paper that can be used as part of the activity, like worksheets with blanks, where you're all going through them together, and they are guided notes, that kind of stuff. Yes, there are strategies that are around that, but the concept of my daughter had a teacher that just gave her packets of worksheets every night, and this is her third grade teacher. And my wife and I are educators. It just drove us up the wall, and it was just caused stress every night, and there was no learning taking place. And she was sending this stuff home to a household where she knew the child was going home to two teachers watching this, thinking, okay, I'm going to call the principal because this is not okay. So so it's okay to use paper, and I guess a big caveat would be, if you give the kids paper to work on, the teacher's still on her feet, still working the crowd. Okay, it's an activity that is the I'm not even going to use the word worksheet. The activity sheet is guiding student learning as opposed to independent practice. Okay, very much the old phrase of guided practice. Teacher's still on her feet. His feet, her feet. Okay.
So then after we've videotaped, we've talked about the strategy. Do you want a reflection on the effectiveness of the strategy?
Yes. Like I was saying, I knew that I needed to, I built as much of this module until my brain fogged over. And then I knew I needed to bounce it off of people. So what I'll need to do, Anita, and you helped me solidify it in my head, something going into it, I may do it this way. Something above the URL, above the link, about what we're going to see. The link, and then your reflection on someplace in here I've done that. I need to go back and see where I did. I don't have it here, but I have it someplace in here where you talk about what you would do different the next time you teach it. that is a go-to phrase that principals use about a lesson. What will you do different the next time you teach it? Okay. So really, if you look at the modules, this course is set up around these. It's set up around these standards, and my goal is that the dates. I'm trying to show you when the dates of when things are due. Standard 1, 2/9, Standard 2, 2/23, Standard 3, 3/8, and then 3, and then we're going to have to work our way through 3/8. These are Sunday nights, I think, so I set that up. The week of 3/9 on, that's Northwest spring break. Okay. Now I know you all have spring breaks too. Okay, so get that in your head as we're going here. Okay. And so I've built a gap in there to accommodate spring break. That's just Northwest spring break. Savannah will have a different week or different whatever. Okay. And then Standard 4, 3/29, Standard 5, 4/12, Standard 6, 4/26. Now here's something you'll see here. Standard 7, 8, and 9, the date is 5/3. They're all the same date because those are 3 standards where, I mean, how does a teacher create a video of them being professional? This just doesn't happen. Or professional collaboration. So I will build and or use there. I still need to decide what I want to do there. There will be some kind of artifact where you upload on those dates, where you document your use of student assessment data analysis. Okay, I'll have to come up with some kind of document for that.
I have co-teachers in 4 of my classes.
Okay.
Would that work for my professional collaboration?
Perhaps. I will build a lot of latitude in there for that. Okay. And again, Zach, this is going to get weird for post-bac people. Okay. But you're supposed to have practicum hours. Okay. So we'll have to get you in the buildings. I will snowplow whatever you need me to do with principals. And this means that you will be an active part of the classroom. So if you get yourself in the classroom, talk to the teacher, say, look, I need to create 6 videos of me teaching. Okay. And so and how some teachers have done this, like Allie, for example, she just turned on her laptop up on a cabinet, turned it over facing the kids. And that works passably well. In the world of student teachers, you can have your cooperating teacher hold the camera or something like that. However you do it, whether it's YouTube or some other structure, whatever works best without a lot of stress. Okay? But the thinking is, if you think about it through, there are concepts of the programs that have people gather video. The National Board Certification Program, National Board Teacher Program, they have teachers do extensive videos of them teaching and reflecting and talking about it and on. This is only 5 to 10 minutes because I know that when they get longer than that, if you're using YouTube, it starts getting clumpy. That's my professional word, clumpy. Okay. Beth, do you have any questions? Okay, let's see, anything else I need to show here? This information here about the MEs, this is flowing out of Northwest's Teacher Education Student Services. There's all the standards there all at once. And this growth guide is a DESE link. And the Educator Growth Toolbox. Now, when I ask you to research about Standard 1, there is a lot of information on this Educator Growth Toolbox about Standard 1. For example, this model evaluation system, there's information here. And actually, a good source would be this literature review, Missouri Teaching Standards. This talks about each of the standards and the quality indicators. It actually goes into a little bit more depth than you all do. And if I remember right, you go down here and it talks about some of the researchers that talk about these concepts standard by standard. Missouri Standard 1.1. This is where they're talking about researchers that are working in this area. Okay. So my goal is that you're doing things that your principal is going to say, hey, that makes sense. You need to be doing this anyway. Okay. And as I said in my email, those of you that are in your last semester for the Alt-Cert program, and really the people in this, well, I'll just stop there. You will have completed the MEAS process when you get done with this course. Now, Zach, you'll see it again during your hours of student teaching. Okay, but the Alt-Cert people, this will suffice for that process, because really there's not much for you to do technically in the MEAS. Student teachers, they're just student teaching, and then the cooperating teacher and the university supervisor put their heads together and arrive at a score. Well, it's just different for you all. Okay, I'm going to stop share and come back to this. And okay, are we about ready to wind this down? And I have I will provide some more direction on the video about the preamble, the video, and reflection. Okay, I will add that. I encourage you all, and I'm also talking to people that are not here. I'm wording it this way, to practice this. Okay, the technology, and really, if you think about it, recording yourself is a really good self-growth process. I don't realize what a Missouri twang I have until I hear myself talk. And so that just is what it is. But that idea of watching yourself, and most of us are our own worst critics. Okay? Okay. Anita, did you have another question?
Just one. I haven't taken the Missouri content area test yet.
Okay.
And when do I need to jump on and do that?
Good question. You can take that anytime. Okay. And really, this is a good place for me to say this. Your certifications are yours. And when you decide to take them, it's up to you. And you go through our test office at Northwest has a link for that. And you can weave your way and find out how to enroll in and pay for and take those content assessments. And you do that as part of your certification. And I, as your advisor, I had nothing to do with that, other than just saying, you got to do it. I mean, I'll rephrase that. If you want to continue to be a teacher, you have to do that. Okay? And so you can do that anytime. You can do that now or later. It's up to you. Let's see. Okay. Did I answer that question, Anita? Okay. Okay. All right. Anything else? Zach, go ahead.
I don't know. I was just wondering if me and you could stay on and kind of talk through some things. I don't really
Yes.
want to bore everyone else. I didn't know if there's a way to do that. This is
Yes,
my
yes.
first time on this, so
Yes.
I just don't want to bore everyone else. So, but
How
if
I
there's
do videos, I will go ahead and stop record because I'll